There is no
Okay.
reshaping of anything. It's like the air. Whatever you decide or do, does the air reshape itself? No. Does the sun? When you look at the sun, when you decide something, or you're mad or angry, or even if you let off an atomic blast, does it reshape the sun? No, it doesn't. This is all part. This is a reflection and a demonstration of the isness. No, it has no effect, which is cool. Creation is its own place in life. That's it. That's all it is. And so until each person wakes up to where they're at, first of all, they don't. They stay in creation until they do have a proper wake up and they can stand real with life itself and not be the effect of themselves and not create causes. We're not interested in cause and effect. Now, Paul talked about cause. He talked about the lower worlds of positive and negative. That's what he did on his God chart. And then he called it, on the God chart, he called it the positive, the pure positive worlds of the eventually God or the Sigma. He used these ideas. Okay, still, it's really not that. Again, this was like being in kindergarten playing with blocks. Okay, so this is what Paul did. He was to start it off. He started the idea, he went through this, he created the membership, etc., to where people are basically followers and they just pay for ideas. Okay, that's fine. That's where we start off, but we're far past that now. And so, no, nothing affects the real universes, which is so cool because they're pure. And it's like you can swing at the sun shining, but what does it do? It does nothing. You see? You can swing at the air, you see, but it does nothing, you see? So again, no, the real universes are indifferent to creation, which is so cool. And that's where it is a recognition, because that's where you recognize your freedom. It's not something that you strive for or run after, like people run after happiness and chase money, etc. No, it's a recognition, and it is not affected. It's by anything, even the love idea. Yeah. So again, this is the challenge of each person, because again, um, as I've said many times, the world has been literalized. People think in terms of, excuse me, trying to figure out life, and the true reality life is cannot be figured out. It must be recognized, and then you decide accordingly. You decide how to, activate and become more aware for yourself and get through yourself what you've been through, because you need that too. Everything you're going through. This is where the real guides, you might say, take on the karma of the individual. Paul used to explain this. And the idea is that they take on so much, just like your parents do. They do things for you, but they don't do all of it for you. They can't live your life, okay? They can't brush your teeth and, always bathe you. Eventually you have to do that and go to the bathroom by yourself and change your clothes and all these things. They do certain things, and this is what the boys do too. They do certain things to get you going. And then they watch the individual, how they are self-motivated to do something, to wake up in some way. And there's many ways to do it. So you've got to figure that part out yourself. But in the meantime, suggest to read the books and what have you. But again, I know I'm going real roundabout here, but there is a lot more than just this and that, yes and no. So again, no, in no way does it affect the real universes, because they are indifferent to creation altogether, like day and night. They are indifferent. Go ahead.
Duane, Uncle Jeff has a rather funny dream. He says on the rear side, his earlobe actually cuts off or detaches itself and is in his hand. And so in this real side experience, he's confused about what this can mean. This can mean, and then he's anxious in the dream, and he wants to do something about it. And then by the time he's about to get up, because this state of anxiety certainly made him want to get up. So he puts his ear again back into place, and it attaches itself well, as if one has used glue. So he wants to ask you what this kind of dream can signify.
Okay, here's another fun one, and that is that, well, the basic idea of your ear is to hear, and the earlobe, okay, the lobe on the ear, which is the lower part of the ear, all right? For the most part, everybody has different ears. And so as we get older, we get bigger lobes on our ears, don't we? You see older people, and I see it myself with the physical body. Your ears actually get bigger, don't they? And for the most part, most people become more literalized and fossilized. So I would say in this experience, this is one way to look at it. That is that this is part of like the personal self, okay? Because the ear signifies listening, and the lobe itself isn't necessary. So again, falling off in his hand, to where again one of the techniques in dreams is to look at your hands, and so this is part, I would say, the literal side of the individual. It has to make sense in some way, and then of course he takes a look at it. In other words, when it's on your ear, when you don't look at your ears, okay, you don't see your back, you don't see the tap line, you don't see these things, you don't look at your ears, you don't look at the top of your head, etc. But on the real side, when this is shown to you, it's bringing something up front. Again, it's part of the personal self. And all you have to do is recognize what's going on. So in other words, we learn to see ourselves here, and then we reattach it again. It's all okay, because it's part of ourself. It's part of our makeup. If we're a doctor, a lawyer, housewife, or whatever we do here, this is part of it. But we start to see it better, don't they? And so it's like it's like a picture or a document or anything that people exchange, and they exchange it with their hands, and they look at it, they hold it in their hand. And so he's holding part of himself in his hand, which is attached to the ear. So number one, to be a better listener and to pay attention to what you're hearing, or if you're listening at all. And so again, that's part of it, and that's the lower part of the ear, which would be, I would say, the literal part. Okay, so but he decides, it's his experience. That's just it gives him a little hint, maybe.